How's that?
I'm ready.
How's that? Does it sound good? I feel good. I'm pumped. Haven't blown my load, but I'm feeling, frisky.
I just don't want to pursue that line of inquiry any further. Welcome to So Uncouth, a podcast filled with conversations you can't have in polite company. I'm Victoria Hannaford, a recovering journalist. I'm with Caroline Craig, an actor who
He's in the thick of it.
probably has had a shower today.
I have, outside, actually, in the elements.
And we're with our friend, the mysterious Bunsen burner, who, based on previous information gleaned on this podcast, possibly hasn't had a shower today. Well, we'll find out soon. We are three friends who live in three different cities. You're joining our weekly catch-up and we're delighted you're here with us. Now, we love a sequel here at So Uncouth. Who could forget Grease 2? So much better than the original, like all those
So much better.
hit songs, right? And Grease is probably a good way to lead up into our follow-up from last week's conversation that we had about bathing, aka showering, a discussion. We're here for part 2. We always like to dig a little bit deeper, excavate at the side of shame. Now, Bunsen, there are two things.
I just want to say, I have steam coming out of my ears right now.
Yeah,
And
that's not from the shower though, is it? No.
Is it an internal shower? What's happening?
Okay. Listen, we'll get to it. There's two things, right, that we didn't get onto in last week's shower deep dive. The first, which is one of my favourite things I learned about you recently, one of your life hacks is to hydrate in the shower, drink shower water.
Yeah.
Are you dehydrated?
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I've actually been quite dehydrated, yes, because my showering frequency has decreased, therefore my water intake has also
So you just
decreased.
don't drink water unless you're in the shower, unless it's pummeling you in the face.
Well, it's a way to start the day right, isn't it? You kick it all off.
I just feel like it's multitask. Like there are several things in life that I find quite boring to do. One of them is get dressed. Another one is get undressed. One is drink water. So if I can sort of knock any of these things over at the same time, that's what I do.
The second and more substantial thing that we did not dip into last week, Bunsen, is that your history of shower avoidance actually runs quite deep and goes back to childhood.
It's formative.
It is.
What do you have to say about that particular topic? Because it's part of the Bunsen law.
Well, listen, I do want to tell that story, but I also just have steam coming out of my ears about this other thing.
Okay, you got to get the steam out. Go.
We might not get to the childhood this time, okay? Because obviously this does run pretty deep, because after last week, when it was discovered that you guys shower excessively, that is at least once a day, sometimes perhaps twice, I was interrogated with your incredulous questioning of how often I shower. Just so you know, I have showered twice, possibly 3 times since we last spoke, which is a week ago.
Okay.
But I was traumatized because of all of this, and I may have overthunk it. I can't work out if it's 2 or 3, so let's just say 2.5.
Triggered.
But
what's been running through your mind?
well, basically what I've discovered is that without knowing it, I have instinctively seen through one of last century's greatest cons. And you guys are chumps. You have fallen for it with your twice daily showers. Because
We're sucked in, aren't we?
what I have found is that the need to bathe is all a capitalist dirty trick, man, to sell hygiene products.
It is. It's all that bath mousse.
Oh, mate, these products did not exist.
But we're talking about soap. Soap's been
Yes.
around for a while.
No, soap, because soap was something that was used to wash clothes, not bodies.
Like
Okay.
velvet soap kind of thing.
So basically there was this organisation founded by the Association of American Soap and Glycerine Producers. And do you know what they called it?
Lobbyists, I call them.
Big soap.
The Cleanliness Institute, which reminds me of the Ponds Institute. Do you remember that institute?
Yes, I do. I've just come from the Institute. I remember that ad.
And so basically they created all of these pseudo-scientific maladies like bad breath and body odour, need for things like mouthwash, deodorant. And I would just
Halitosis.
like to say that this has long bothered me, but all the pieces are falling together, because do you remember when we were growing up, was there something that was called body wash and face wash?
No.
It's all skin, mate. It's all skin. Why do you need 2 different ones?
You don't. But this all feels like quite, an overblown defense of something that is a little bit more narrow here. We're really just talking about showering habits. Like soap doesn't even have to come into the equation.
Well, what's the point if you're not using soap?
I'm just saying, like, I like a shower.
Well, fine. You said to me offline, off the podcast last week, that you had not encountered me as a smelly person.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you are just trying to be nice, but I'll take it. And that is proof that you have been sold a lie. That is all I'm going to say.
Listen, I wasn't that judgmental about your lack of showering.
Yeah, no one was. I don't know why I'm so upset. We can now talk about my childhood if you like.
Look, I think that that's really where the meat is on the bones in this discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So what is your history of showering as a child? What made you avoid it?
I'm actually not 100% sure what made me avoid it, but basically my brother and I, we cooked up a plan I would have been like 8 and he would have been 11, which for a boy not to be showering, I mean, that's only just occurred to me. But anyway, but basically our kind of after school thing was that our parents were not home.
The latchkey kids of the 80s.
We were 100% latchkey kids. For a while we had this guy who lived with us. He was a mechanical engineering student and he was supposed to be around when we were home. Like, really?
A manny.
Loose childcare.
Yeah.
He was a manny?
He was a marsole. That's what I remember. He was also a mook. He was supposed to be to cook.
Oh, a cook, right.
Basically, my mum really, and I don't blame her, hated cooking. And so the deal was that this mechanical engineer was supposed to create some food dishes for us and to be home at certain times kind of thing. Anyway, he obviously was not really paying much attention. My brother and I were supposed to be showered before dinner, but we both really hated having showers. And I still don't actually know why this was.
Bunsen, it's a history of you sticking it to the man. Like, come on.
I think it is. I think it's rebellion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's just innate.
Yeah, basically. But so we cooked up a quite ingenious scheme to avoid having showers. And we even came up with a code word, which was to remove one letter from the word shower, which was an H, which made us have sours. And I think we probably could have possibly smelt a bit sour.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started having these fake showers or sours. I mean, it essentially took almost as long as actually having a shower.
Yeah.
I had extremely long hair and had a shower cap. So what I would do would put the shower cap underneath the tap and then on my finger and swing it around the bathroom like a stripper swings around a shirt to flick water all over the whole bathroom, which, by the way, had wood ceiling and walls and carpet on the floor. So I just drenched.
Carpeted bathroom. That was always my dream.
This is what I would like to call an embarrassment of evidence. Like,
You think it's like an embarrassment of riches.
yes. Like, you've just gone a bit too far.
And then I would leave like clothes in a trail. I'd get the towel and then sprinkle water on it and then sort of like just dump it. And then I'd actually run the shower so that there was water in
Still use the water.
Only for a second, but just to make it wet. Yeah.
That'll get him.
And we did this for I don't know how long. Like, listen, it could have been 2 weeks, but for us it felt like 4 months. You know, we were sticking it to the man, you know?
Yeah.
And our parents just seemed, they didn't notice any odors.
Does a poor sense of smell run in the family, perhaps, Bunsen?
No, I mean, all of this really does seem to back up my previous rant more in the sense that, you know, like this whole need to have a shower every day is just complete bullshit.
Big soap around us.
You're questioning the authority even then. Did you ever have to use the word sour?
Oh, yeah, no, we would use it all the time. So my brother and I would say, I've got to do the sour before we forget.
And would you say it in front of your parents? Would you speak truth to power and say the word sour?
No, we were truth to power, like just in our unshowered, having looked as if we had showered selves. Because the other thing as well was that when we got home, we had like this massive list of chores to do and we had homework. I played all these ridiculous instruments. I had to practice all of them. Then we had to have a shower
Okay.
and then we're allowed to watch telly. So it was just like, I've got to get through it all, man. I need more telly time, you know?
Interesting that you did all the tasks, but then you scrimp on the shower.
Well, that's what you can get away with not doing, right? Like, I mean, I can't get away with not ironing my father's shirts.
Did you have to do that?
Yes.
Wow.
And I had
That's
to
very
polish his
impressive.
shoes. It's ridiculous.
The 80s. It was a different time.
This whole thing ran for quite some time, and we, you know, like it happened to Bernie Madoff. It's happened to con artists as long as.
Were you ever frightened you were going to be busted?
No, we got complacent. And one time, do you know what I forgot to do? I just left the towels neatly folded as it had been. We were found out.
And what was your punishment? A shower?
I think, yeah.
Thrown into a
That
cold
sort of
swimming
explains
pool?
it more than anything, actually, that you view showers as punitive, probably.
Yes. Oh, look at
There
you.
we
I'm
go.
going to start calling you Dr. Hannaford.
We've
I just
excavated
can't
at the
help it.
side of shame. Now we know.
I want to hear the moment you were busted. You must have been like a bit sick in your
Listen,
stomach.
I've wiped a lot of the trauma from my mind, but the main emotion that I feel is the thing of when your parents are disappointed in you.
Mm. Yeah.
That hurts.
I bet they were sad about the deception, not the lack of showering.
Oh, listen,
The
I mean,
lying,
Ruse.
the consistent lies.
I don't think that you can say that a good sense of personal hygiene runs in the family. So I think you're right there, Victoria. Yeah.
Now, Bunsen, I do relate to the lack of time thing. You know, I know you rail against the kind of big soap situation we're in, but one thing I will say in defense of liquid soap is that it does facilitate a very fast shower. I timed myself the other day because I thought, wow, I really went out the gate with a pretty bold claim of being able to shower in under 45 seconds. Guess what? Liquid soap, I was in and out in 15, mate.
Wow.
It's 15 seconds. That's how long it takes.
How is that really effective, though?
Yeah, well, I felt clean.
Well, I mean, I suppose if there's no reason to shower, then of course you can do it in 15 seconds.
In and out, mate.
Yeah.
Saving water.
But you know what, Victoria, though, I have witnessed. Well, listen, I haven't witnessed the exact mechanics of
You
how
haven't been in the room.
I haven't been in the room, but I've definitely seen the door closes and it opens again.
That's impressive.
And she's done.
Shazam.
That's impressive.
So maybe we have more in common than we previously thought, Bunsen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's effectively a sour, isn't it? Parts of me aren't getting wet.
No, you just flinging water around the room like that, aren't you?
There's a trail of evidence that suggests I've had a shower. It's a zero-sum game here.
Yeah.
Are we really any different? You know what? We can bring ourselves closer in this moment. There's more that unites us than divides us, Bunsen.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's beautiful,
mate.
guys. That's beautiful. Oh, this has been a full circle therapy session, and we're not even halfway through the pod.
I sort of feel still a bit angry, but I'm letting it go.
Now, I don't know about users, but I have had a lot of conversations about tweakments and cosmetic surgery recently. And we even touched on this at the very top of last week's pod where we revealed that I may have had a tweakment or two in the past, not for quite a few years, but tweakment
How
in
many
the form
years?
of Botox. I don't know. I would say it could be 2, it could be 3, but like even then it would have been like maybe once a year at the most. But I wanted to know whether either of yous have had a tweakment.
When you say tweakment, what are you referring to?
So injectables are what I would call a tweakment.
What about laser and all that sort of
Yeah, well,
stuff?
the floor's yours, ladies. You tell me.
The floor, FLAW. Yeah, I did. When I was in TV, I started to get a bit of that sort of pressure. But then I was also only 25, 27. And I remember getting some Botox done, I reckon, when I was 28. Like, that's really ripped off. Like,
But that's also like
that's very young.
pretty cutting edge, isn't it?
Like,
I mean,
Yeah, like ahead of your time.
Yeah.
yeah. The thing is, I just was angry a lot and always frowning. And I thought, oh, maybe this will be good. And then, of course, as soon as I had it done, I got a gig on TV and I had to go to New Zealand and I did all this stuff. And I had to cry and had to be broken down and I had to have a car accident. I had to, do some
Emote.
semi-naked horse riding. Exactly, emote. And I'd be like, crying. And my whole face would just be frozen. And because my forehead was frozen, I actually couldn't this is just a really lame excuse for my bad acting. but I just felt like I couldn't access like real emotion. Like I couldn't, there was some sort of weird biofeedback loop that was breaking down so that I'd be crying and I'd just be kind of trying to squeeze something out.
Sniffing an onion off the side, maybe.
Exactly. Getting Vicks and sticking it in my eyes in between takes. But I became really neurotic about it. I was like, oh my God, it's done something weird and bad.
Deadened you inside.
Exactly. And so then I did all these things to get rid of it.
What did you do? How can you get rid of it?
Here you go. I'm just going to read to you top 7 things you can do. Rubbing your face, going under the sun and in strong heat, taking blood thinners. Didn't go there because I was in New Zealand. I didn't have any access to them. Drinking alcohol. Certainly did that. Washing your face with soap. See? Applying any topical products or ointments to your face immediately after the procedure. Lying down on your face for the first few hours of treatment. So then I'd lie on my face. Sometimes I'd tape my face up in the night and I'd stretch it. I was trying to like get it. I was like, wake up, come back to life, come back to life. And I'd stand in the mirror going, oh, oh, trying to get a frown back. I know,
Really?
I know. I became really like,
I did not know this whole story.
and I kept thinking, oh, people are going to think that I'm an expressionless bitch. Little did I know that everyone was doing it. And that's why they all look so
Smooth.
calm and smooth and they don't sort of – and then when I went to America and I did screen tests and stuff, they'd be like, wow, you've got a lot of tension in your face. I'm like, well, I don't really. It's just moving.
They're talking about the triangle of sadness,
The
maybe.
triangle of sadness, that's right.
That sort of bit between your eyebrows.
Yeah,
that
which
can
is
move.
like, I mean, I can't even count the number of wrinkles I got in there. There's like, I don't have enough fingers.
I think it's interesting because just that whole thing of like that loop. I did watch this program a while ago, which alerted me to the fact that like I just feel like I was just being an idiot because I hadn't known that all of the people around me were doing this.
You live in Sydney, mate. Definitely.
I know. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's why that person looks like this and their lips are like I just had not known.
Don't you feel like this is probably like relevant to your point, Bunsen, about internalizing bigger structures and kind of, I don't know, points of oppression? Is like you cannot win. Particularly this is something like I think you would have to think about, Caroline, like as a woman whose face is sort of part of your work, you can't win, like because you don't do it and then you get comments like the one you got from that casting director. And if you do it, there's speculation about what you might or might not have done. Like there's so much judgment if you actually do go ahead and do it, I think.
It killed my confidence. That's the thing, because it made me feel self-conscious. I was like, they can tell that I've had this thing done. You know, it just, I didn't need any more fucking mad voices in my head between each take, you know. I was already like, you shit, you're terrible, you can't act, and action. You know, I've already got that going on anyway.
But what about now?
What about now when you have all of those
exactly.
wrinkles in your face?
No, because the thing is, like, yeah, at that age, you probably had bugger all wrinkles.
No, I didn't have anything. It was stupid. I was just sold a con. You know, I didn't even need to sunscreen.
But now, do you think, it's pretty normal to have a little bit of maintenance, in inverted commas, like get some filler, get some Botox, like get some work done?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And I look at other actors. I look at a lot of actors who are getting more work than me, and I'm like, God damn it. I really, and then I put down a screen test, and I don't think I look that old. I'm really not actually sort of looking at myself for very long each day until I do a screen test, and then I'm like, oh no, damn it, look at me. I just look like death. I got big bags under my eyes. I'm so wrinkly. I'm so da-da-da. And then I'm like, but it all depends. It's all about getting work. You know what I mean? Because you think, I want to be able to go for those roles in, late 30s, let's say. I want to be able to play, as Jackie Weaver, my mate, said, you should be able to play 10 years younger and 10 years older, right? You should be able to do that. And in theatre, there's no problem with that, like doing prima facie. I was way too old to play that role, but I just, gave it a spin. But I do look at myself and then I go, shit, damn, I look tired. And you start to judge yourself. You've internalized all that shit of, I was looking at all that stuff online, and because there's all this sort of bullshit saying, oh, there's no point getting it done when you're 40. You're meant to have started when you're 20 before you have any wrinkles at all. And so what are they saying? Are they basically saying women shouldn't, and I don't know if it is just women, because apparently a lot of men
No,
get
I don't
done
think
too.
it is.
But, or human beings shouldn't be angry. They shouldn't be stressed. They shouldn't be surprised. They shouldn't have emotion.
I think though, Caro, what I would say, and I mean, I'm not your agent, so possibly this is
I
not the
wish you
right thing to
were.
say. But I honestly think this can be your selling point. This can
Yeah,
be
you wanna be real, right?
what
Like,
actually differentiates you.
Mm.
yeah. A lot of directors are like, I think I got a role last year because I looked real. They said, "Oh, you seem real." And I was like, "I'm gonna take that as a compliment." And then I met a casting director in the States, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I get you. You're kinda like Naomi Watts who's seen some shit." And I was like, Thank you, thank you."
I fucking love that assessment. You have seen some shit, Caroline. She's bang on.
But I think, yeah, it's like you wanna look at someone that's real, but the problem is there's just so much of it, like, it's so prevalent. Like, what's the norm? I feel like it's the new norm in a lot of screen stuff
Yeah.
now.
Women do look like that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In certain stratas of society, yeah. Do you think it's good to look like you've had it done, and why?
I don't
Um,
look, I think that it's very difficult. I don't want to like cast judgment on people who've internalized these messages and or who just feel like they want to do it for themselves. I do think it's a highly personal decision.
mm,
The only thing that disturbs me is that there seems to have become a generic face type that we're
Mm.
all kind of moving towards. So
yeah,
that it's not so much about like a little bit of Botox, it's more a particular
shape.
style
Yeah.
of filler. And there are some people in the public eye whose faces I almost can't tell apart because of the amount of work they've had done. And that I think is the bit that I don't like. But I really don't blame people for thinking that that's their moneymaker. That's the way they keep getting work. I do
Yeah.
think it's a fair enough judgment for them to make. I don't necessarily want to do it for myself. But having said that, I have had Botox before. I might do it in the future.
So why haven't you recently?
I don't I don't look at my face that much. I don't care. I
Mm,
think I sort of thought that it was doing something and it actually probably really wasn't. And I now get asked about it much more, like the assumption that I have had Botox and I haven't. What the fuck is that? That doesn't make any sense, right? So why would I bother?
mm.
All I really do to myself is put sunscreen on. I'm not trying to say that I'm more virtuous. I think that there is an inherent moral judgment in some of this stuff. I'm not that interested in
Yeah,
it.
that's my thing with
Yeah.
it. I think there is a moral judgment. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think about getting it done, and then I'm like, "Oh, but what if, I better do it while Callum's
Yeah.
away, or I
Secretly.
better like, I don't want anyone to know."
Mm.
And then I'll, I'll try to pay in cash, or I'll pay on another credit card. Like, I
It's like it's a
just don't
drug
want.
deal.
Exactly. Like, it feels like this clandestine,
Mm.
deceit, or some traitorous act. And then you're like, why do I feel like I'm traitorous to myself? Like, I just don't even know
Yeah,
what
it's
it's
very
about.
hard to discern what your specific personal view on it is because, surprise, surprise, the patriarchy's all fucking around us and inside of
Mm,
us in some cases. Like,
mm.
it's a bunch of bullshit. But, I also don't want to come after people who've done
Say it's
it.
good or bad.
No,
No, no, no, not at
well,
all.
no, but I don't like the sense that it's deemed an essential. Well, like, it
Mm.
just is not.
Yeah. Look, it was all a big wake up to me when I first started on TV. I remember another actress who I was working with who just was always so glamorous, and so, I mean, she was incredibly fit. She was the first woman I'd ever seen with a six pack, and her skin was amazing. And I'd be like, "What do you do?" And she'd say, "Oh no, I have a facial, once a week, and I have all these treatments." And this is like when we were like 22, 25. And I just didn't even know that that was a thing. I didn't know that was a way to spend money. I was like going, saving my money so we could all go down to the Builder's Arms and get pissed on the weekend. Like, I just didn't know that this was, she's like, "Oh no, it's part of being an actor and you can claim it as a tax deduction because it's actually part of your,
Fuck.
that's your job to look a certain way and to,
Mm.
and your body and your fitness and your da da da." And of course, then I went down a real rabbit hole of like, losing weight, getting an eating disorder, running, da da da. I think, you know what? I didn't go and have the facial. I should have just gone and had the facial with her, but instead I ended up, lying in sunbeds.
Did you get a six pack?
No, I never even got a six pack,
Oh,
mate.
fuck. What's it even worth it then?
She was
Jesus.
getting them at the Builder's Arms.
A six pack of beer instead.
That's my kind of six pack. VB six pack.
Choices, Caroline, choices.
Shall we move on? Caroline, please check your email because we have
Uh-oh.
a listener dilemma that was sent to us at souncouthpod@gmail.com.
Dilemma. That's just a little intro while I'm getting my emails. I have a burning question. Hello, Couth gurus. I have a beloved friend who loves to. Sorry, my eyesight isn't good enough. I have a beloved friend who loves to burn things in an outdoor fire pit. Having burned every flammable leaf and stick in the backyard, he started hunting through the house for untethered wood. Last time he was over, I was preparing dinner and he sent me a photo of my wooden outdoor chairs on fire. I had to rush outside to save the table. What's next? The porch? Pets? Small children? Please help before he single handedly raises global temperatures. That is a hot one. What do we
Okay.
do? What have we got to offer?
Now, I don't know if this is going to seem a bit extreme, but I would get a private investigator and investigate this
Is that
person
PI Hannaford?
immediately, because I don't know about you, but this person sounds like a danger to wider society. Either they're just a firebug, right?
Yeah.
Or there's something deeper going on because, like being a firebug can also be a sign of psychopathy.
Isn't it sexually related too? It's a little bit.
Everything's sexually related, Caroline.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Maybe they just need to blow one out,
I've got
Not with a blowtorch.
I've got two questions. One is this person employed in any way as a firefighter?
Exactly.
Oh, God, they work for the CFA, don't they? I bet they do.
They often are, pyromaniacs.
Pyromaniac, yeah.
Is this person their floor office fire warden? That could be another clue. But my bigger question is, it seems that the friend, the pyromaniac, let's call him, comes over, but he obviously is burning something in a fire pit. I'm assuming that he's burning something in a fire pit that this person who's written the email has at their house. I just kind of like, what is normally burnt in this fire pit? Because what I would be doing is just provide more of that.
Okay.
Just firewood. Simple.
A kind of bait and switch, like a, here you go.
And then you're being a good host because you're satisfying the pyromaniac's needs, but your furniture will remain intact.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a legal and fair way to do things. I personally would be putting a tracking device on this person and following their every move because summer's coming. You're going to watch out for those firebugs.
Yeah.
Stop, drop and roll.
Drop and roll. Get down low and go, go, go. Is that what you're about to say?
What did he say why did he possibly burn the chairs? Like, it's pretty incredible stuff.
Psychopathic. It's psychopathic
I
behaviour.
think they were just old and rotten. He's probably trying to do them a favour. He could come around here. We got a heap of stuff to burn. I mean, you could just burn everything out. Just basically cauterize the place.
The flip side of this is that the person who has written in is actually a hoarder and the friend is trying to do them some favours. Anyway, could be possible. Anything's possible.
I didn't write it. What are you saying?
I think we've given two good solutions.
Provide more firewood or start tracking this person's every move.
Or just hose them down. Like just come out with a massive hose and just hose them.
Yeah, just make sure you've got a fire hydrant handy whenever they come over.
I just like to water the garden too. How about that at the same time?
Thank you for...
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
For reaching out for our stellar advice, because I don't know what you'd do without us, quite frankly.
Shall we move on to our So Uncouth of the week?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, on my travels through the interwebs, I recently found an article at the New York Post. Let's draw a polite veil over the fact that I actually read anything on that website, but I thought this might be of interest to both of you. Brides with cold feet are hiring professional wedding destroyers to crash their nuptials.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, look, I will just say that there is one wedding destroyer. The headline is slightly misleading. However, I did think that they could be kickstarting a trend. A Spanish prankster who offered to spoil couples' big day for $550 as a goof was flabbergasted after brides hired him as a professional objector. I have weddings scheduled until December, Ernesto Reneres Varela told Newsflash.
It's a thing. It's a gig.
It's a gig.
Wow, this is great. I could do that. I'm happy to do that.
The Spaniard's impromptu career shift occurred after he posted the satirical online ad. I'll show up at the ceremony, claim to be the love of your life, and we'll leave hand in hand, declared Barea, who is booked.
I think you
and
need to
busy.
do that with a Spanish accent. You have to do that with a Spanish accent.
I definitely can't. Now he's got his going rate, but he does offer a couple of extras if he's attacked by incensed guests, something that happens on occasion, apparently. Each slap is worth €50, he declared.
As in, if he gets slapped.
Like a slap on him or he has to do it, yeah.
It's unclear to me, but I think either way, right, you'd be charging an extra, because if you take a slap or you need to issue one, like if someone issues you with one, maybe you need to go back to them with a slap in order to make this whole thing feel believable.
Slappy, slapper, 50, 100, 150,
Yeah,
200.
it's like an auction, up and up and up.
You know what I would be doing? I'd be colluding with a guest at the wedding to give them a cut, and so that guest could issue a lot of slaps.
Well, you probably would want to recruit a couple of people to just make sure it was believable. But look, I just want to get really real for a second here on So Uncouth. You know, ladies, because it does seem that this is brides who are hiring this man's services. This is an entertaining sideshow, but it is not the way. If there are no extenuating circumstances, then the advice has just got to be, don't be afraid to take charge of your own life and bail before the big day.
Bail before you're paying all the freaking wedding things as well. Like, you don't want to pay for the venue, the dress, everyone's little champagnes. You don't want to pay for that.
And also, got to think of the follow-up, because the thing is, everybody that you know in your life is there, right? This guy that no one has ever seen before is there. And then where is he going to be tomorrow when you talk to your parents?
Well, he's famous now. Everyone's going to know. As soon as he turns up, they'll be like, he's here. This wedding isn't going to happen.
But I mean, that's a shortcut, really, isn't it?
Yeah. He'd have to come in disguise.
There's a lot of questions.
But I just think for the ladies who are facing into this situation, I think you need to not be afraid of being seen as uncouth and take up some space in your own lives. You could have dumped that loser.
Yeah.
Claim back some of that pre-wedding time dedicated to the bullshit like bridal showers, and you could instead have been on a journey of delightfully and joyously slutty self-discovery. If you had allowed yourself, you could have been in Thailand getting lower back tattoos, learning how to pole dance, having a great time. You know, each and every day is a new opportunity to be so uncouth. And on that note, I will copy you later.
Copy you later. What a message, Victoria.
She is a trailblazer.
I'm a tramp.
So Uncouth.